Hey everyone, welcome back. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this super cute little card. And I'm not making this one exactly, but I'm using this basic template to make another card. This is actually, when I first got into Stampin' Up, this was one of the very first cards that I made. And I actually mass produced these and made like 3 or 4 sets of 7 cards, I think. For family and friends, and I still have a couple of sets for myself, but I love these because you can make a bunch of these. That's super easy, and they're a great little gift. So, like I said, we're not going to be making this pink one. We're actually going to be using some of the 2014-2016 color cardstock that's going to be retiring pretty soon, but it's the same basic concept. So the products that you're going to need, we're going to be using the Flower Patch stamp set to create our own background paper, essentially, is what we're doing with that one. The other stamp set that we're using is Pretty Thankful to make our sentiment, and this stamp set is actually retiring, so if you want to get your hands on it, I haven't checked the retiring list lately. Last time I checked, it was still available, I think. Oh, let me make sure before I say that. I'm pretty sure it was still available the last time I checked. Yep, it was. So, I don't know if it's been a little while since I've checked. I don't know if it's still available, but if it is, I would get your hands on this one because this one's one of my absolute favorites. It was one of the first stamp sets that I got, like I said, and it's just so easy to make a ton of different little sentiments that are they're so stinking cute and easy. Like, that's all there is to it. So, we're going to be using this. We're also going to be using the banner framelits to make to put our sentiment on. We're going to be using our embossing buddy and the white embossing powder. We're going to be using Versamark ink, and then we're going to be using Blackberry Bliss, which is a 2014-2016 color, so this will be retiring. So if you haven't already gotten your hands on these, I would highly suggest you do that. We're also going to be using a piece of Blackberry Bliss that's cut at 8.5 by 5.5. And, oh, I forgot, we're actually going to need another piece of Blackberry Bliss just as a scrap to do our banner on. So we'll need another piece of that. And then we're going to be using a piece of just regular Whisper White. For today's card, I'm going to be using a little bit of a different size layer. So this one's actually just cut at 5 inches by 4 inches. And that just gives a little bit of a different look to the card, especially considering we're only doing one layer on this card. It gives it a little bit of a different look. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is create our little piece of background paper. So I have my 3 stamps that I selected, and my advice when doing this is to pick a big stamp, a medium-sized stamp, and a smaller stamp. That's just how I found that it works out the best, and it's easiest to create a really nice, pretty background piece. But of course you can do it however you want. That's just my tip, and that's how I get the best results that I like. So I have my 3 stamps here, and I'm actually going to move these 2 out of the way. So I always start with the biggest stamp, and we have our Blackberry Bliss here. And again, if you want this, I would suggest jumping on it as soon as possible. We're already halfway through the month, so these are going to be gone before you know it. So I am going to just start randomly stamping this, and this color is so pretty. It's such a nice deep purple. Oh, I love this color. I actually just purchased the re-inkers myself because I did not have them. But I'm so happy that I did. You can see I have a piece of background paper here as well, just because I am doing some stamping off. So I want to make sure that I don't stamp. Oh, things are falling as I'm trying to grab my Stampin' Scrub. Hang on. I am just throwing things all over the place right now. Okay, so the reason that I really want to grab my Stampin' Scrub right now is because Blackberry Bliss is a darker color. It has more of a tendency to stain your stamps. So I really like, with darker colors, I like to clean them as I go as much as possible. Your stamp's going to get stained, and that's perfectly fine. It doesn't change the way that the stamp works. It doesn't change anything. They'll still work perfectly fine. But I just like to keep my stamps as clean as possible. So now I'm going to go in with my second stamp. And again, this one's just a little bit smaller. And we're just going to fill in kind of the bigger areas. Now, this stamp set doesn't have a ton of medium or small size stamps. They're all kind of, the medium and smalls can kind of get mixed in together. So I would just suggest being cautious when you're stamping, because you want to get at least a couple of the others in there. So, oop, that one didn't stamp very well, but because we are working with photopolymer, should be able to line it up and fix it. And just do a couple more. Oh, why can I not stamp very well today? There. And I'm going to do some off to the side over here so it looks like we're nice and cohesive. That's one thing, if you only have enough space to get kind of like in the middle here, even if you only get, like you see, I can only get a couple little dots on the side, you still want to do that so that it makes your piece look cohesive. So you don't just have a bunch right in the middle, you have some scattered about. Okay, so that's all the stamping we're going to be doing with Blackberry Bliss. So you can take this, throw that off to the side. I'm going to take this piece and set it off to the side to start drying as well. Now what we're going to do is grab our Pretty Thankful stamp set. And this is a little tiny one. You can see I've used this one so much. Oh, I do. I use this one all the time. Okay, so we are going to use... I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to use the circle. So I'm going to grab the circle. And then what do we want to do? Where is, okay, so here is thank you for, and we'll do your kindness. That one's always good. It's always good to have a thank you for being kind, that kind of card in your stash. Oh, it's always a good one to have. Okay, so I need to just grab a baby wipe because my block is all dirty, and I have a crazy dog trying to do something crazy on the bed that's right across from me. Oh boy, I don't know what to do anymore. Okay, so I'm going to just grab my block and I'm going to set down my circle. And I'm going to try and center it as best as I can. Okay, and then I'm going to take my little sentiments and I'm going to flip these upside down and I'm going to squish them together as close as possible to get the nice spacing that I want. And then I am just going to press that down. And if you have to adjust a little bit, of course you can adjust. I think that looks pretty good to me though. So now what I'm going to do is take one piece of my Blackberry Bliss. The two pieces that I have are actually the exact same size because I just cut the piece of cardstock in half. But you only need a scrap for this part. So if you just have a little piece laying around of a coordinating cardstock, and it doesn't even have to be the same color. It can just be a coordinating color. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to grab my Embossing Buddy first and just put down a nice little layer just to make sure that we don't get embossing powder anywhere we don't want it. And what I actually like to do is take this and kind of wipe it off on my pants a little bit just to get rid of some of that ghostiness. You don't have to do that obviously, but it does come off. You just have to give it a little bit of love. So I'm going to then just take my stamp and ink it up, and because we put all the pieces together first, you know you're going to get stamps exactly where you want them, and you're not going to have any issues. So I'm just going to stamp it down right here. I'm just going to make sure I have enough room on each side, or on all four sides, to know that I'll be able to get my banner cut out of there. But the banner, you don't need a ton of room for it, so it's not a huge deal. I fold my piece of cardstock, my piece of background paper in half to catch all my extra embossing powder. and sprinkle this on. We're using the white embossing powder today. I just like the way that white looks on this Blackberry Bliss. I think it looks really pretty. And as you can see, because I used my embossing buddy, the only place that I have some stray embossing powder is over here where I didn't actually use it. So now I'm going to set this off to the side for just a second. Make sure I don't bump it while I'm doing all of this other stuff. Move that piece of paper off to the side. Close this up because I'm notorious for spilling it. And I'm just going to take this and grab my heat tool. As always, I get my heat tool heated up on my hand. Once it starts getting really warm, then I'm just going to grab my paper, move it around. Some people like to just concentrate on one spot and really heat that one spot up and then just kind of go from there. I like to kind of heat it all up. I just find that I get a better look that way. So I heat it all up, and then once I feel like everything is heated, then I kind of focus more on the specific areas. Just like that. And with the white embossing powder, it is a little bit more difficult to tell when it's completely melted, but as long as you can kind of move it around and see that there's no small little particles anymore, that means that you're good and that it's pretty much melted. So I had a Cricut mat fall down on me when I was trying to grab my Stampin' scrub. So move this out of the way. I'm going to bring in my Big Shot. It's kind of dusty. I don't know why. Maybe I haven't used it in a little bit. I don't know. And we're going to grab our framelit banner. We're going to be using the, which one are we using? Not this one. We're going to be using the second, is this the one that I use? Yeah. Not the second, the third largest. And I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? If I could find scissors. If I can't find scissors, then I guess I won't do it. Well, oh, here they are. They're right in front of my face. I'm just going to roughly cut this off so that we have a little bit of a smaller piece to work with. And I'm going to put this on here just like this. I would use some washi tape, but I don't have washi tape with me right now. So we're just going to wing it and hope that it works out. I usually don't have a ton of issues. And if it moves a little bit, it's all part of the process. I'm just not very prepared today, clearly. My craft room is still a mess. I still haven't put everything back, so it's all kind of all over the place. I really do want to put this down. So I just have a little bit of Scotch tape here. I would recommend not using Scotch tape if you can. But what I'm actually going to do is just put this on my pants a couple times to get as much of the stick gone as possible. I need to be better prepared. Next time I will be, I promise. Okay, so I'm going to pull this off right in front of me so I can see where I'm putting this. And I'm really honestly just sticking it down to the outside of the banner. So if it does end up sticking, it shouldn't cause an issue because we're not actually going to be using that piece. Crank it through. I like to do all of my dies twice. That's just how I do it. I don't really know why, to be honest with you. Okay, so we'll pull this out. Oops. Perfect, we didn't have any issues. I'm going to move my Big Shot back over to the side, out of my way. And now it's really time to assemble our card. So first thing I'm going to do is take my piece of Blackberry Bliss and fold this over just like so. And you can do it either way. You can do it portrait or landscape. I usually do these landscape, but you know what? We'll do it portrait today because I've been doing a lot of landscape cards lately. So what I'm going to do is take my dimensionals, And what I'm actually going to use are the little outside bits of the dimensionals. This is actually, we now have the foam, the dimensional strips. So this would actually be a really good use for those dimensional strips. I haven't purchased any yet. For some reason, I totally spaced it out when I did my pre-order. Don't ask me how exactly that happened because I don't really know. But I spaced out with my pre-order, so I have a bunch of these that I feel like I should probably use up anyways. So that is that. I am just cutting these just like this. Whoops. And these actually, it's kind of funny, these fit pretty much perfectly on this 4x5 piece of paper. So I just trim just like that. And we need one more. I'm telling you, I keep these around because there's always sometimes where I do a card like this where they're really useful. And like I said, we'll have those new, oh, this little piece, those new full strips in the upcoming catalog. So those are going to be awesome. Those are going to be super useful for things like this. But you're still going to have bits like this because we're not getting rid of dimensionals, obviously. So you'll still end up with some of the outside bits. So if you are somebody that doesn't feel like you need the full strips, that you're not going to use them a bunch, you can still use this and do it that way. And I just forgot, actually, I want to put a couple pieces in the center just to make sure that the center of the card doesn't sag at all. And do one more, a little bit. There we go. Okay, this should be good. Okay, now that we're all dimensionaled up, I'm going to take this and put it on my card. Just like that. And again, we're going to do this one portrait. And then I need actual dimensionals for our little banner. So I'm just going to load these guys up on the back of this card. And honestly, this is such a super simple, easy card. And, you know, I love the Pretty Thankful stamp set for this. But it is a product that's retiring, so you probably won't see me use it much after this card today. But it's a great one. But if you don't like this one, if you don't think that you could use it, you could do the same exact template, but just change the way that you do the sentiment on the front. So you could still use a little banner, but you could use a different sentiment. You don't have to use the Pretty Thankful. I just happen to really like this set. I think it's really useful. So anyways, there is that. And we are all done. So that is our super simple card for today. I hope you guys enjoy. Sorry, I feel like this video was kind of all over the place. I wasn't very well planned out, but this is the card for today, so I hope you guys like it. And again, you can take this basic concept and make it a ton of different ways. I actually have, how many do I have? 7 total, 7 different colors, background combinations, using the exact same stamp sets. So I'll put a picture of those. I actually have them up displayed in my craft room behind me. So I'll put a picture of those in the coordinating blog post, which is the first link in the description down below. And if you have not yet gotten your catalog, speaking of my website, if you still have not gotten your new catalog, which is going to be upcoming here in a couple weeks, make sure you head over there, click on the contact me button at the top, fill out the form, and I will get one of these right out to you. I've been sending them out like crazy. So if you still want one and you have not gotten one, please feel free to go over to my website, request one, and I'll get it right out to you with no cost to you. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video, and I will see you next time.